Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more of the Korea-China Invitational League. We're in a 9-game series between Mihu here in the top right of Polypoid and Saber here in the bottom right. After Mihu has taken the advantage 2-0. I gotta say the second game, certainly Saber was looking a bit better, but that was a very fast and very surprising couple of dropships. But I think the theory behind what Mihu was doing was very solid, really, when you think about it. Because I really did think about it after the game. I'm like, wow, you never see dropships that quickly. But the MUTAS count got really reduced very, very quickly. And that's actually what signals that you can go dropships. Because, like, basically anything that can react to dropships and get rid of them quickly is very, very, like, it deters the dropships a lot, right? So, like, for instance, dropships aren't too good once Ultralisks are out, because you literally might have, like, an Ultralisk and some Lings in your main, you attack, move it, and it kills that, right? Dropships are good against Lurkers. They have to unburrow, run over, try to burrow, and you can just micro against that. Mutalisks are very good against dropships. They can either catch them or, you know, a flock of Mutas fly over, and it's like, well, you have 7 Marines and a medic. Well, I'm sorry, the 8 Mutas just kill that, right? But he had reduced that Mutalisk count pretty substantially, down to like 6, some of which were injured. So he just kind of went for the 2 dropships. Makes a lot of sense. I think, you know, I gotta say, like, whatever your guys' opinions may be on Mihu, like, I really like watching, because it brings a lot of good concepts into focus. This is something I've talked about a lot, especially on my personal stream, where it's like, Mihu is he can compete with some of the pro gamers, but he's not like an ASL level Terran. There's certainly things about his play where you look and you're like, well, that's just not as good as what the pro Koreans are doing. But that's what makes it so valuable, because it really kind of highlights what he's doing that's really good. But yeah, you know, if someone is going to get up to that Korean pro level, be able to play in the ASL that's not a Korean player, Mihu is at the top of that list. So very exciting to watch him continue to rise, continue to improve. Let me know in the comments, guys, how much, if any, you like to watch Mihu games, because you know, I get a fair amount of them to put on the channel, and I hope I'm not boring you guys with it, because again, he is one of my favorites to watch, to study, and all that. And I think the underdog status of a non-Korean player going up against the Koreans is always a fun storyline to follow. Anyways, taking a look at this Polypoid game. Once again, Saber going for that 2 hatchery. We're going to see the very quick layer coming up. You know, Mihu's kind of watching for that. There it is, like a 253 layer. That's very, very fast. That's as fast as you can go without a pool first. So, you know, he's just going to be going for those Mutalisks right away. As far as Mihu goes, he does have a nice wall here to kind of prevent himself from having to make a bunker. You know, obviously we've got a hole here, but he can just kind of clog that up. One thing to mention is that Polypoid is a map where positionally it really matters. Like, I guess, what is the best way to put this? Where you spawn, like, there's a positional advantage as far as spawns go. And it's at different values for different locations, okay? So, for instance, with Zerg spawning behind your natural, that's very good for Zerg on Polypoid, because the naturals aren't super well set up for turrets. Now, this particular natural expansion is one of the best ones for turrets. So in this game, it won't be as bad. Like, for instance, if Zerg were in the bottom left and Mihu were here, this natural is very hard to defend. This area, very hard to defend against Mutas, because you get one turret here that is kind of repairable and not right up against the edge. You can make turrets there, but I talk about that a lot in the broadcast just to show you, because Mihu does sometimes put turrets there, but they're very easy to kill. But anyways, we'll see. Mihu probably will compensate heavily with turrets. Like, I think he'll start with 4 and possibly go above there, because again, you know, when the Mutas can get right here right away, it gets a little bit annoying to try to deal with. Now, Mihu has gone for a very quick +1 attack here. He is starting to add some more barracks as well. Now, I always talk about how you go with the very quick +1, you'll generally go into 4 barracks play. Mihu's a little bit different. He marches to the beat of his own drum. There's a possibility he goes 3 barracks with this. it's not a bad build, but you're not able to put as much pressure on the map. So we'll see what he's thinking about in a moment here as he continues to add barracks. Saber is taking the bottom left expansion, which is very standard, you know. When you're going for that 2-hatch Mutalisk play and your close spawns with your opponent, if you take that cross spawn, the travel distance is such that it's really hard, next to impossible, for Terran to get down there and deny that. If they really try to commit to that, you can either counterattack or possibly get enough units to kill the army itself, and both of those are very, very strong. Looking into Mihu's main base, he is going for the 4 barracks play, so he's going to go very, very heavily into Marines and Medics. Getting those turrets going as well, has to have one at those depots. We'll see how many he makes in the natural. Of course, for the very first pass of mutas, you don't necessarily have to have your full turret count. Because, you know, you have a maximum of 6 larvae, right? And you need 7 Mutalisks to one-shot an SCV. So it's not entirely scary until they've spent all their larvae, and then you gotta wait, what is it, like 12 seconds or something for another larva? And then, you know, you can make that additional Mutalisk. So the first pass is generally not going to be 7 unless they went for 3-hatch in main very quickly. So now we have the mutas just kind of flying about. It is 6. Here comes more. Harassment is going to be able to get stronger. Mihu adding additional turrets. Nice spread of his Marines and Medics. Looks like he's getting ready as well for that factory. He wants to get that as quickly as is possible. Now, this is one of the most interesting things, I think, about walled expansions, is some Zergs choose to attack the wall and some don't. Now, obviously, the depots are not super high priority targets. They do have a lot of health, and they take a while to kill, but you can force kills on them if you want. Now, in this particular game, because it is a 4 barracks play, it's a little bit harder to get that type of damage because Mihu wants to move out, and he wants to move out early. You know, with that additional production, he's just going to have so many Marines and Medics. He's going to have that very fast +1, which helps to, you know, mow down those mutas a little bit quicker as well. So right now, that +1 still coming along. Hydralis Den has been started. But Saber having a little bit of a hard time reducing this Marine count. This is a lot of Marines. He's going to have to think about making some Sunkens. Oh, no! A huge misclick there. I mean, that's not a micro error. That's just a misclick for sure. Not sure how he ended up doing that. It does happen to the best of us, but loses a little bit more on those mutas. Doesn't have the number he's really looking for right now to battle this. And with that, again, with the +1 attack, very scary situation right now. All right, the Mutalisk clump is full once again. He has some Marines out here. He's flying in between the rally point and the or the reinforcement line, right? And the Marines. So that's going to not allow Mihu to get any more units. The Sunkens are actually not ready. So yeah, Saber has to do something here. This pressure is pretty gigantic for him to move in and kill off some of these Marines. And okay, he's starting to pick some of them off. Very important. We see some damage that's actually sticking because there's only 2 medics. Oh, wait, no, there is 3 medics, but they are getting very low on energy. One of them already depleted completely. So, you know, it's going to take a little bit longer. This group is getting smaller and smaller, but Mihu has sent a second group of only Marines out. Now, if this gets caught, Saber's in good shape. You know, he's not super high on drones or anything right now. He has made a ton of units this game. But it doesn't look like he's actually going to catch this. These Marines are going to get up, and they can kill every single drone before the mutas get over there. This is a terrible situation. Saber does end up killing off that forward force, but Mihu doesn't care so much because he is killing all the drones over here. It's fine to sacrifice that forward force if you're getting a move off like this. And in fact, he's trying to get this before the Lurker upgrade. Oh my god. If he kills this before Lurker... Oh, that is a huge moment from Mihu. That's actually very surprising. That's a rare thing to see. But he killed a lot of drones over here and gets rid of Lurkers. How do you end up holding? I mean, from here, Mihu is getting out his vessels. He's adding additional barracks, getting those upgrades going. Saber has got to work some magic with only Mutalisks at this point. He does have double sunken here. He might actually want to get a third. 2 Sunkens don't do that much against a ton of Marines. 3 is actually like 3 is where as Terran you start looking at it, you're like you're kind of squinting your eyes trying to figure out, can I break that? You know, and it's obviously it's not just the sunkens. If it's pure sunken, yes, you can break it. But when you're adding in things like those Mutalis, you know, 2 sunkens is much less, right? Like you're you can't even really one-shot Marines, especially if that +1 armor finishes up, you know. It's much less health to have to deal with and all that. So Mihu continues to move across the Mutalis. Okay, he's getting some reduction there. I mean, obviously playing from a very disadvantaged point here. But let's see if he can kill off this Marine medic group. Irradiate is actually almost done. He doesn't have the energy quite yet. You do need 75 for that. But seeing those vessels, he is going to have to be a little bit more careful with this Mutalis clump. The Lurker upgrade is almost done, but not quite there. Mihu continues to make his way across the map, going towards this bottom left expansion once again. Skipping over the area that does have sunken colonies. Ooh, that's a good couple of radiates right there. And he kills the Hydralisk before it can turn into a Lurker on the ramp. You can see Mihu just super punishing what has occurred so far this game. An egg does come up, but it's already so damaged, right? He is going to be able to knock that out, and GG is called from Saber. Mihu leads 3-0. All right, so getting into game number 4 here, with Mihu leading 3-0. We are on Fighting Spirit, the oldest and worst map that's still played. I think a lot of people still enjoy it, though, so, well, let's do it. We have Mihu spawning in the top right. Looks like a very standard opener from him. Nothing out of the ordinary. His SCV just scouting around. It's going to find in the bottom left here Saber. And once again with the 2-hatch opener. I mean, obviously, you know, this is a lot of Terran versus Zergs in a row, and you might be looking at it and wondering like, oh, wow, or shouldn't there be like a few more openers? Honestly, like, there... In TVZ, it's pretty mapped out. It's like, on Terran's side, it's like, okay, do you want to go Marines or do you want to go something else? Okay, so that's the big question. If you're going to go Marines, it's all about getting your command center up as quickly as you can in a safe manner. For Zerg, the big question, well, I guess you could go pool first and do some sort of rush, but the higher level you get, the weaker that becomes because the punishes are better understood, right? So, like, for instance, if you open... with a 9 pool, it's like suddenly, okay, well, your opponent now has a pretty good idea of what they can do to punish you for doing that and slowing your own economy. But yeah, the main question for like a macro-oriented game, which is going to be most games played at higher levels, is do you want to go 2-hatchery or 3-hatchery? Now, 3-hatchery hasn't been popular in years, really. 3-hatchery can be a little bit weaker against some tech builds that Terran can do. And not that it's like unplayable. It's completely playable. Like, in fact, we saw Shine in ASL do some very strong and well, they beat a lot of good players with 3-hatch builds still, even in macro situations. But yeah, the 2-hatchery openers are a bit more standard. It's just the thing is, 2-hatchery Mutalisk gives you the earliest pressure that brings you into a macro game. And the thing is, you could all in with it. Absolutely. You can just stay on like 2-hatch, or you can even go to a 3-hatch all in and just go like heavy Mutalisks or rush into Guardians, something like that. But a 2-hatchery is considered just a stronger way to play overall, since it basically dictates Terran to like go turrets more quickly, and, you know, less macro coming out of them, and they have to, you know, be very careful about the harassment and all that. So anyways, it does look very, very standard here from Saber. Mihu did make the early bunker here, since he is going for that very fast +1. You have to be careful. You have fewer Marines in this type of play, or, well, you have a smaller amount of production overall. You can notice he's playing very, very carefully right now. This could have to do with the fact, well, first off, he doesn't really have a scout on the map. But it could have to do with the fact that he's actually leading against Saber pretty heavily as well, where maybe he's expecting that there could be like an all-in or something. And really, if they're going to break you with Zerglings, it has to happen before your medics. So you see, as he gets the medic out, he pulls the SCVs away. The medic basically adds a little bit too much sustain to really break through. So looking over at Saber's side, he is taking the third base. Now, the games that we've seen so far, they've been closer spawns, and then the third base has been very far away. This third base is a lot closer, as you can see. The travel distance between here and here is really not that far. So the pressure that comes out of Mihu with this 4 barracks play is much more likely to be oriented at this base. Now some scans going off. He's just kind of checking on the Mutalisk hatch timing here, right? You got to make sure you have your turrets up in time. The Mutalisks are flying across the map. It's pretty standard that they get there again, you know, just after 6 minutes. And Mihu's got a decent amount of turrets, right? Like, you don't need a lot, again, for that first pass. Here comes 4 Mutas in. He does move some Marines up into his main base to make sure that they don't do anything annoying, like fly over the turrets and try to kill some SCVs. Range is still on the way, as is +1. Mihu about to have himself in a nice position as far as his upgrades go. One thing to note is, again, this is Fighting Spirit. This is an older map. Oh, he's harassing that depot actually quite a bit. As range finishes, it'll be better defense, but I think Mihu, yeah, it looks like he's just going to let this depot go. It's sticking out to the side a little bit too much, and his range isn't ready. So that was a pretty solid pickoff. You see the supply block there. Nice move there from Saber. But yeah, one thing to mention about this map. Now, this position isn't too bad for missile turrets, as you see, but there are positions on this map where turrets are a big issue. I guess I don't need to really talk about those too much. It's part of the reason why it's an older map that isn't as good. There's like, for instance, if Terran's down here, you can't defend the natural against Mutalists. Like, literally actually can't. You just can't fit many turrets in. But anyways, here he's going to be fine. He's got a good spread of turrets, and the build he's chosen to do here is going to put maximum pressure on the map against A2 Hatchery Mutalisk play. Now, let's see how Saber deals with this. Ooh, Mihu really trying to gun for those Mutas. Gets a few shots off, not that impactful. And Saber just kind of flying around the periphery here. Look at this. As the Mutas get out of vision, he tries to set off some Marines again. So remember, he did do this previously and got some very good damage. Was it on... Yeah, it was on Polypoid that he did that, where he split off a group of Marines to go after the third base. So Saber this time catches it. You know, Mihu, he's looking for opportunities for damage. That one doesn't work out. But now he's just going to push his main force towards that top left base. But this is a full group of Mutalisks. I think that Saber's going to be fine here. Like, let's see. Okay, knocks out a few Marines. Obviously, you got to stay and heal for a moment here as Mihu. You can see those medics getting very low on energy. One has decent energy. 2 of them are pretty empty. So, you know, every stim is a little bit costly. It takes a little bit longer to re-heal those Marines up. Loses 1 more Muta right there. So he has lost a couple during this this hitting of the Bioforce of Mihu. He has some Lings and some additional Mutas coming up. So I think he's going to want to kill this off before the reinforcements come. It's really important. And in fact, he does jump upon it. Mihu stims forward to try to help and then realizes, uh-oh, there's way too much there. And still 10 Mutas left over as well as 4 Lings. So that was actually a very good cleanup there from Saber. Got to hand it to him on that one. Mihu has to retreat, reinforce his numbers. And those Mutas will get pushed back. All right, science facility coming up. Everything looking standard for our Terran player. Over on Saber's side, popping out a bunch of Hydralisks to make those lurkers. We have the Hive on the way. We have the evolution chamber for those carapace upgrades on the way. And yeah, he's going to start morphing lurkers immediately. There's actually no lurkers being morphed up here. So there is like this little window where, who knows, maybe Mihu could go across the map. I don't think so. Like, Saber is getting better with the Mutas here and reducing that Marine count a little bit. So, like, if you throw away too many groups, that's where Zerg gets a huge advantage, and you're just not going to hit the critical mass you really need to do anything. So, right now, Mihu just kind of staying still. He's got a decent amount. Oh, God, he went double dropship. Wait. Is he literally going dropships before vessels? This is not a very common thing. In fact, he's going to fly past an Overlord with that. Oh my God. Wait, did he... I think Saber might not have seen that? That's kind of crazy. He jumps onto these turrets. He doesn't have ample defense here. Oh my god. He drops right on top of the sunken. All the lurkers are at the ramp. You know what? I think Mihu at this point is thinking to himself, you know what, Saber, this is his weakness, is dropship play. And I can't disagree. Like, he missed the dropships a couple of times. And now he's cleared all those lurkers. He's cleared all the drones at the expansion. Obviously, the MUTAS can come back and clean up these Marines before he loses the hatchery, which, you know, I mean, at least that's something. But this is a terrible situation. A terrible situation for Saber. Sending up a few more lurkers, but yeah, I mean, if like, this is not really a thing to make dropships before your before your vessels. It's so not a thing. I think that it wasn't even being looked for, right? Like, he's like flying over overlords and stuff, and Saber is just, it's not in his mind that this could even occur at this time. That's my opinion on what's going on here, because, like, literally, guys, I watch like every Terran pro game that there is. No one goes dropship this quickly because there's just no reason it should really work. Like, there's still a good Mutalist count out, and he had a full group of Mutas, and a full group of Mutas will destroy 2 dropships if you're on top of it. And you know, he had a good lurker overlord spread, so definitely Saber just not getting the info, even though it's like kind of available for him. Now Mihu continues to deal so much damage with this drop. Kills off the Nidus as well. He's killed a couple more lurkers, going after the Queen's Nest. Not that that's an important building, but he's just looking for anything he can get at this point. Lurkers creeping forward here. And, I mean, this drop is pretty much done. I don't see any reason to keep on microing it. And so it does get cleared. Let's take a look at the position. So it's 31 drones. It's not very many. 66 supply. It's a bit low. Now 4 dropships are coming across the map. Mihu just won't stop with these drops. It's kind of insane when you think about it. Like, he has gone dropships so many times, so many dropships all over the place. Dude, he's not even... Is he just... He made 6 dropships before vessels? Nobody does this. Nobody goes 6 dropships. No one goes dropships at all before vessels. But to go 6? That's insanity. Well, you know what? He's kept so much pressure on. And look at this. The 2 dropships flying across the map while Saber tries to deal with this at his 3rd base. It looks like this hatchery very likely to go down. Oh my god, he's picking off so many lurkers here as well. Pulls back. Gonna target that hatchery. He is gonna get the hatchery. Look at this. He flies in right next to Scourge. Literally right next to Scourge. The Scourge end up killing them, but there's enough Marines out here with 1-1 upgrades. I think that's it. There's nothing left here for Saber. He's taken way too much damage, completely caught off guard, and Mihu extends his lead to 4-0.